This discussion will focus on longevity and quality of life in old age. The story of a woman who celebrated her 90th birthday prompts us to reflect on how we approach our health throughout our lives. At 90, she doesn't suffer from common age-related diseases like diabetes or hypertension, nor is she dependent on daily medication. Every morning, she starts her day independently, preparing her own breakfast and going for a walk. She maintains sharp eyesight and mental clarity, allowing her to read without glasses and recall important moments of her life. Many who learn about her active lifestyle attribute it to luck or good genetics, but she is convinced that the secret to her health lies in conscious food choices. Instead of treating diseases that have already appeared, she has strived to prevent them by carefully monitoring her diet. Her outlook on life contrasts sharply with what she observes around her. Many of her peers face serious health problems. Shortness of breath after just a few steps has become commonplace for them. Their bags have turned into portable pharmacies filled with medications. Mornings begin not with a breath of fresh air, but with taking pills. Unfortunately, many people grow accustomed to pain, chronic fatigue, and poor sleep, blaming it all on age. But should we really accept such a state of affairs? What if age is merely an illusion? What if behind all the manifestations of aging lie the consequences of our lifelong diet, of what we've nourished our bodies with for decades? It's important to realize that the situation can be turned around at any age, even if you're past your 60s, 70s, or even 80s. It's never too late to start the journey toward better health. And for this, you don't need drastic measures, agonizing fasts, or complicated diets. Transformation comes through simple, natural, and nutritious food that heals the body and protects against illness. Today, I'll share the story of 5 foods that became the starting point of my personal rebirth. I am convinced that they allowed me not just to live to 90, but to live a full life, enjoying every moment, rather than merely existing and mechanically counting the days. So, let's get to the main point. I'll begin with something that accompanies my mornings for many years, a product that brings mental clarity and peace of mind. Product number 1, chokeberry. Modest in appearance but rich in content, this tart berry can have a beneficial effect on the body that surpasses many pharmacy medications. My introduction to this gift of nature began about 3 decades ago, and it wasn't a fleeting fad or a response to advertising slogans. The advice came from an experienced person, a neighbor who dedicated her life to medicine as a paramedic. She strongly recommended, "Rita, if you want to keep your blood vessels healthy, elastic, and strong, like in your youth, regularly consume chokeberry. You don't need large amounts, but daily consumption will bring invaluable benefits." Initially, I approached this advice with some skepticism, believing that such a humble berry couldn't possess such miraculous properties. However, curiosity and a desire to improve my well-being prevailed. A small handful of dried chokeberries was brewed in a thermos, steeped for several hours, and the resulting drink was consumed daily, half a glass at a time. And soon, amazing results began to appear. The feeling of heaviness in my head at the end of the day disappeared, and my hands remained warm even in severe frosts. The most striking effect was the stabilization of my arterial blood pressure. While previously, pressure spikes led to complete exhaustion, now it stabilized, working smoothly and precisely, like a well-tuned clock. Chokeberry, a humble berry from our latitudes, harbors a healing power that surpasses many pharmaceutical drugs. Its rich, almost black color is due to anthocyanins, natural pigments with powerful antioxidant properties. These substances, like tireless guardians, protect our blood vessels and stimulate blood circulation in vital organs like the eyes and brain. They give us energy, restoring youth and vitality to our cells. I recall the story of my old friend, Anna Pavlovna, with whom I retired. At 74, she suffered from constant dizziness, especially troubling in the mornings, a sensation of the room swimming, and coldness in her extremities. Doctors diagnosed age-related vascular weakness and prescribed medications that, unfortunately, caused her unpleasant side effects. That's when I suggested to her, "Anna, try chokeberry. It certainly won't hurt." I shared a jar of dried berries with her and explained in detail how to prepare the healing drink. Just a couple of months later, I met her in the park. She was energetically waving to me from the other end of the alley, her face radiant with health. "Margarita, you won't believe it," she exclaimed. "I can walk alone again, without fear of falling, and my fingers are warm now, like when I was young. In winter, I don't even always wear a hat." That's the power of this ordinary berry, chokeberry. Not an exotic delicacy, but our native, proven remedy for maintaining health and vitality. Let's consider how to prepare chokeberry, this gift of nature, as a means of maintaining health. The simplest and most accessible method is brewing it in a thermos. Just leave the berries in hot water for a couple of hours, and the healing drink, reminiscent of compote, is ready to consume. Chokeberry can be added to porridges and compotes, especially apple ones, while avoiding the addition of sugar. The key is regularity and moderation. Small portions, consumed systematically, will bring more benefits than occasional consumption in large quantities. If you experience blood pressure fluctuations, cold extremities, or a feeling of heaviness in your head, it's worth trying to include chokeberry in your diet. Its action is gentle and gradual. It doesn't cause sharp changes in the body, but seems to restore harmony and order, tuning internal rhythms. The second valuable product is Ivan tea, a plant capable of bestowing true serenity. In the past, especially in rural areas, Ivan tea was an integral part of daily life. It was stored in large jars, filling the house with its delicate herbal aroma. Even tea was brewed like regular tea, but its taste was much milder and more pleasant, leaving no bitterness or anxiety. Unfortunately, over time, this wonderful herb was undeservedly forgotten, giving way to brightly packaged teas with artificial flavors and additives. Yvonne tea came to seem unfashionable. Approximately 2 decades ago, I returned to an old acquaintance, and since then, our bond has been unbreakable. The reason lies in its unique ability to meet specific needs, especially those that become more relevant with age. It has a beneficial effect on the nervous system, eliminates daily internal tension, improves sleep quality, and stabilizes digestive processes. And all of this is achieved naturally, without medication, without the risk of addiction or undesirable side effects. Every evening, brewing a small amount of Ivan tea becomes a ritual. Steeping it for 10 to 15 minutes allows the drink to fully release its healing properties. It is consumed warm, without added sugar, sometimes with a drop of chokeberry infusion to enhance its positive effects. After drinking it, a sense of relaxation settles over the body, thoughts quiet down, as if a turbulent stream transforms into a calm lake, and sleep comes peacefully, without restless dreams or nocturnal awakenings. Sleep becomes deep and restorative, bringing true rejuvenation. I used to meet an acquaintance often at the library. She regularly complained that by evening her heart would start racing, as she put it. Her pulse would quicken, and a feeling of anxiety would emerge, preventing her from falling asleep. Medications brought no relief, only draining her last bit of energy. One day I offered her a thermos of Ivan tea and advised her to replace her usual black tea with it, at least for one evening. A few days later she approached me, gratitude in her eyes, and said, "For the first time in a long time, I fell asleep without fear of not being able to. I just lay down, and it was as if someone gently closed my eyes. It was truly magical." Ivan tea is a true treasure trove of elements that beneficially affect brain activity, the cardiovascular system, and the gastrointestinal tract, ensuring their seamless operation. It helps reduce inflammation in the body, provides a gentle cleansing effect on the liver, stimulates the removal of excess fluid from tissues, thereby reducing swelling and discomfort in the body. This drink is especially valuable in mature years, when the body becomes more susceptible and requires delicate support. To prepare this healing beverage, it is recommended to brew 1 teaspoon of dried Ivan tea in 300 milliliters of hot water. Steep it covered for 10 to 15 minutes to preserve the valuable essential oils and beneficial components as much as possible. Consume it warm, preferably after meals. Ivan tea can be drunk at any time of day, but it has an especially beneficial effect in the evening hours, becoming an excellent alternative to traditional sweet tea or coffee. For those who seek harmony and tranquility, wish to enjoy sound sleep, and wake up with a clear mind, Ivan tea will be the first step on the path to achieving inner balance. Product number 3, buckwheat porridge, a simple, accessible, and, as experience shows, indispensable dish. If asked about the most frequently consumed food product throughout my life, the answer would undoubtedly be buckwheat. And it's not about trendy diets or special preferences, but because this dish was a dietary staple since childhood. With years comes the realization of how nutritious and beneficial this product is. Upon reaching the age of 60, I experienced unpleasant fluctuations in my blood sugar levels. Sometimes an inexplicable apathy would set in after a meal. Then sudden weakness would overcome me, and occasionally my heart would pound wildly. The medical specialist, of course, advised, "You need to control your blood glucose levels." That's when I decided to completely eliminate white flour baked goods from my diet, gave up sweet pastries entirely, and replaced them with plain buckwheat groats. In the mornings, and sometimes during the day, I would prepare porridge with water without adding salt or oil. Nothing extra. And what was the result? After just 2 weeks, post-meal drowsiness subsided. And after a couple of months, I noticed that my sugar levels had stabilized, my blood pressure had lowered, and most importantly, I felt full without any heaviness in my stomach. This is precisely why buckwheat groats are so valued. They don't overload the body, but provide gentle support. Buckwheat is rich in complex carbohydrates, which provide energy, not for a short period, but for the entire day, gradually releasing and nourishing every cell. It contains important minerals, magnesium, essential for maintaining a healthy nervous system, iron, which prevents the development of anemia, and a large amount of fiber, which helps cleanse the intestines. And all of this without any artificial additives from pharmacies, all natural, given by nature. And if you cook it until soft, without pre-toasting, it is ideal even for those suffering from gastrointestinal or pancreatic diseases, as it does not irritate the mucous membrane. In everyone's life, there comes a moment when they reflect on the quality of their diet. Often, in the pursuit of trendy diets and exotic foods, we forget about simple and time-tested solutions. The story of the author's niece, Tatiana, serves as a vivid illustration of this truth. Tatiana, accustomed to irregular and chaotic eating, decided to include ordinary buckwheat in her diet, following her Aunt Rita's advice. Initially, she was skeptical of the idea, but the results exceeded all expectations. A simple dietary change, buckwheat soaked overnight and brought to a boil in the morning, led to astonishing changes in her well-being. Tatiana noted that for the first time in a long time, she began to eat properly. Her thoughts became clearer, and she had significantly more energy throughout the day. Buckwheat is not just a grain. It's a reliable and unpretentious product that can form the basis of a healthy diet. Preparing buckwheat doesn't require special culinary skills or much time. The classic recipe is simple: 1 cup of buckwheat to 2 cups of water. Simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes without adding oil or salt. To add a special flavor, you can include a little chokeberry decoction or a spoonful of warm flaxseed oil after cooking. If you're looking for a starting point to improve your diet, begin with buckwheat. This grain, like a strong foundation, doesn't require immense effort, but provides a reliable base for health and well-being. The fourth product, deserving close attention, is seaweed, a true treasure trove of iodine, whose benefits for the body immeasurably surpass synthetic counterparts from pharmacy shelves. But the healing properties of this gift from the sea are far from exhausted. The author first discovered seaweed when she was around 40. At that time, the problem of the thyroid gland did not receive such close attention, but she began to notice alarming symptoms: constantly cold hands, a muffled voice, and a palpable loss of vitality. After a thorough examination and analysis of the results, the doctor diagnosed an iodine deficiency, borderline low, and recommended including seafood in her diet. Fish was not among her favorite dishes, but seaweed appealed to her immediately. It is easily digestible, has a pleasant, salty taste, which, when properly prepared, becomes delicate and refined. The author began adding seaweed to salads, porridges, and sometimes used it as a side dish for main courses. And within just 2 weeks, she felt beneficial changes. Her hands stopped feeling cold, her former energy returned, and mental clarity reigned in her head, as if a dense fog had cleared. This is a vivid example of how well-being transforms when the body functions harmoniously, and every cell receives the necessary nutrition. Seaweed is much more than just a rich source of iodine, although the concentration of this element in it is truly astonishing. It is also rich in B vitamins, iron, magnesium, and valuable dietary fiber. This gift from the sea provides invaluable support to the thyroid gland. That miniature but vitally important organ helps cleanse blood vessels, making them elastic, and normalizes metabolism, which is crucial for maintaining optimal weight and energy levels. Equally important is that seaweed gently lowers harmful cholesterol levels and eases the liver's work, helping it effectively perform its detoxification function. A vivid example is the story of the author's neighbor, Rosa Andreevna. For many years, she suffered from constant fatigue and a feeling of brain fog, as if her thoughts were shrouded in a veil. However, after including seaweed in her diet every other day, sometimes as a salad, sometimes just a spoonful as a side dish, she transformed. After just a month, she literally radiated energy, and, coming to the author, exclaimed, "Margarita, it's as if someone lit a light inside me. My memory is much better, and even my neck stopped feeling cold." This case clearly demonstrates how a properly balanced diet can work wonders if you don't overcomplicate it or turn it into an exhausting regimen. It is important to pay attention to the type of seaweed chosen. Canned products with vinegar and sugar can negate all the benefits. The optimal choice is dried laminaria, which requires pre-soaking and rinsing, with the addition of a small amount of vegetable oil. Alternatively, high-quality frozen seaweed without any additives can be used. How can you incorporate this valuable product into your diet? Seaweed pairs wonderfully in salads with carrots, buckwheat, or boiled beets. It can be consumed as a standalone side dish, limited to 1 or 2 tablespoons. It also makes a beneficial addition to vegetable soup if added at the end of cooking to preserve maximum valuable nutrients. Don't rush to conclusions if seaweed hasn't previously delighted you. Perhaps it's worth giving it another chance, and it might pleasantly surprise you with its beneficial properties and taste. Sauerkraut is another product that deserves special attention. Its composition contains nothing superfluous, only essential components. This product is familiar to many from childhood, when homemade sauerkraut, prepared in a large glass jar without vinegar and sugar, was a frequent guest at the table. Cabbage, carrots, and a little salt. That's the whole secret. In those years, it was consumed as an accompaniment to potatoes and dried fish. However, over time, it became clear that it was not just a tasty side dish, but a valuable source of beneficial substances, having a positive effect on the entire body. Sauerkraut is a true living elixir of health. Sauerkraut, being a product of live fermentation, possesses a unique property that distinctly sets it apart from other food products. Its value is attributed to the presence of lactic acid bacteria, which have a beneficial effect on intestinal function. These microorganisms promote optimal absorption of vitamins and minerals from consumed food, reduce the burden on the liver, strengthen the immune system, and, most importantly, reduce inflammatory processes in the body, which are the cause of many age-related diseases. The author particularly notes the healing power of sauerkraut, which she experienced at the age of 70. During this period of her life, she developed digestive problems, manifesting as bloating, a feeling of heaviness after eating, and constant drowsiness. Despite having an appetite, she felt no pleasure from eating. Including a small amount of sauerkraut in her diet, just 1 tablespoon before each meal, or as an addition to main dishes, led to significant improvements. Within just a couple of weeks, her health noticeably improved, and after a month, the functioning of her internal organs became more harmonious and coordinated. Her appetite returned, her mood stabilized, and sharp fluctuations disappeared. Sauerkraut is a valuable source of vitamin C, the need for which increases with age. Additionally, it contains fiber, potassium, and important B vitamins, particularly vitamin B6, which is essential for maintaining cognitive brain functions, reducing anxiety, and improving psych-emotional well-being. Allow me to share another instructive story from my life. My neighbor Anna, a respected woman of 78, faced unpleasant consequences after a course of antibiotics. Her gut suffered a serious setback, causing constant discomfort. The doctor prescribed probiotics, but in the rush of her days, she forgot to buy them. That's when I offered her a simple and accessible solution. Anna, try starting with cabbage, but not store-bought. Get real, homemade kind. I'll bring you a whole jar. Just a week later, she came to me, as if reborn, and excitedly shared. Margarita, for the first time in a month, my stomach is calm, and I feel much better, physically, mentally, and my mood is excellent. How should you consume this miracle cabbage? 1 or 2 tablespoons before a meal, or a little in a salad is enough, but without adding mayonnaise, so as not to nullify its beneficial properties. The most important thing is that it contains no vinegar, sugar, or preservatives, just cabbage, carrots, and salt. That's the whole secret to this simple yet incredibly effective remedy. If you strive for seamless digestive system function, excellent mood maintenance, and the prevention of internal irritation and inflammation, be sure to include this cabbage in your diet. It's easy to prepare, full of life, and accessible to everyone.